In this video, I'll show you how to make a hip roof for a model building using just cardboard, a ruler, and some scissors. There's no math or geometry involved, and with my step-by-step tutorial, it couldn't be easier. The first thing you need to do is determine the footprint dimensions of your building. In this example, our building is a simple rectangle 9 inches long by 6 inches wide. If we factor in a 1-inch overhang for the roof on all sides, then the top-down view of the roof is a rectangle that's 11 inches by 8 inches. A hip roof for a rectangular building is basically just 2 trapezoids and 2 triangles. But you can't just take this one-dimensional top-down view and make the roof work. It won't fit together correctly because the angles and lengths aren't right for a 3-dimensional structure. And that's because this trapezoid is not the same shape as this one. And this triangle is not the same shape as this one. This center line is the ridge line. You'll need to decide how long you want your ridge line to be. It's really just a matter of taste. For my 11-inch long roof, I used a ridge line that's 6 inches long. The other thing you'll need to decide is the rise of the roof. The rise is how high you want the ridge line to be above the top of the building. The higher the rise, the steeper the pitch. For my building, a Nativity Scene stable in the style of an Italian farmhouse, a low-pitched roof was suitable for a terracotta tile roof. So I used a low rise of just 2 inches. Now let's get started making the roof. We'll make the 2 trapezoids first. To make the trapezoids, we're going to need a measurement known as the slope gauge. To get this measurement, we need to make a triangle. On a piece of cardboard, measure and mark off the width of your roof. In our example, it's 8 inches. At the midpoint, make a vertical line the height of your rise. In our example, 2 inches. Then draw in the 2 other sides of this triangle. Measure the length of the side. It doesn't matter which one because they're the same. 4.5 inches. This is the slope gauge that we need for the trapezoids. We can make those now. Get a piece of cardboard. I'm using the cardboard from a jumbo-sized cereal box. I like to use this fold as the top of the roof. It makes a perfect ridge line. Cut this cardboard the length of your roof. In our example, 11 inches. Now we're going to use that number we determined for the slope gauge. From the ridge line, measure and mark off the length of the slope gauge. Here it's 4.5 inches. Make a straight line. Repeat on the other side. Now cut off the excess cardboard from the sides. Now mark off the end points of your ridge line. This ridge line is 6 inches long. So I'm going to measure 3 inches to either side of the midpoint. Next, make a straight line from the end point of the ridge line to the bottom corner of the roof. Do this for all 4 corners. Now you have the trapezoids. This extra cardboard gets cut away, but before you start cutting, here's a tip. Draw tabs, like these. These will make it easier to assemble the roof later on. Now cut away the excess cardboard. Maybe a blade knife would have been better than scissors for these tight corners. Here it is all cut out. This is looking good so far. Measure the length of this side. This is the roof slope line, and we're going to need it in the next step. This is 5.25 inches long. Now that we have the 2 trapezoids, we need to make the 2 hip triangles. You might be thinking, didn't we already make that triangle? Well, we did make a triangle, but that triangle was simply to get the measurement for the slope gauge. Look what happens if we try to use that triangle on our roof. It doesn't work. The angles and lengths are all wrong. So here's what you do to make the triangles we need for the hip ends. On a piece of cardboard, mark off a base length equivalent to the width of your roof. Here it's 8 inches. At the midpoint, draw a vertical line. Next, using the length of the roof slope line that we just measured from the angled side of the trapezoid, in this case 5.25 inches, measure that distance from the corner of the triangle to where it meets the vertical line. Draw that line on both sides, and now you have your hip triangle. Cut it out, make another one, and now we're ready to piece together our roof. Here's where those tabs come in handy. Tape the pieces together. There you have the template for your hip roof. But we're not done just yet. Stick around because now I'm going to show you how to make this cardboard template sturdy enough to support the weight of the roof tiles. Since I tiled my roof with miniature terracotta tiles, I needed a firmer surface than just cardboard. So I got 1/8 inch thick plywood craft panels and cut out the 2 trapezoids and the 2 triangles. We cut these out with a coping saw, but a table saw, if you have one, would definitely give you better, straighter edges. Sand down the rough edges with sandpaper. Here are the final pieces. The next step is the gluing. Spread glue over your cardboard template and then attach your wood panels. Press them down so they fit nicely together. While these dry and we wait for the next step, I'm going to head outside to clear off my driveway. We got another foot of snow overnight and it's time to start up the snowblower. But wait, there was a problem. Before I even got my boots on, I noticed that the wood wasn't adhering very well to the cardboard. It kept popping up, so I had to hold it in place and weigh it down with something while the glue dried. These quick grips and cans did the trick. Good thing my wife had just gone to Costco and stocked up on black beans and tuna fish. Here's what it looks like the next day. I'm not going to put the tiles on the roof in this video. That's a separate video that I'll link to at the end. But there is one more final step. I like to give the roof a coat of paint. This is just some brown acrylic paint. Except for the bottom edges, it's not really essential to paint the entire roof. But I do it just in case there's a slight gap in the tiles. Or the shingles if you use miniature shingles. If the roof is painted, then the light color of the wood won't shine through. So there it is, our finished roof, ready for the next step, whether it's miniature terracotta tiles, miniature wooden shingles, or even real miniature pieces of slate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider giving it a like. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us in the next video where we attach the terracotta tiles. There's more to it than just gluing tiles on a roof. You won't want to miss it.